Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. The Skywalker saga revolves around a very important Chosen One prophecy. It goes something like this. The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches, born to those who have trust to fight him, born as the 7th month dies. Yada yada, abacadabra. It was introduced by George Lucas in the prequel trilogy. The Chosen One was supposed to bring balance to the Force. Lucas explained this by saying that meant the destruction of the Sith at the hands of Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. And as we all know, Lucas likes to retcon a lot of things, and there's not always a master plan like he says, which usually ends up leading to incest. Anyway guys, if you watch this channel a lot, you'll know that I believe in the gray side of the Force. Usually extremists, no matter what shade of robe they're wearing, will set off a chain of terrible events eventually that will almost always end up with dead children lying face down in a pool of their own blood. When I hear a Chosen One bringing balance to the Force, I think of an individual who destroys both the Sith and the Jedi so that there can truly be balance in the Force. After all, how could destroying the dark side and letting the light side thrive bring balance? That is completely opposite of balance. Let me visualize it. Balance is a seesaw. On one side you have the dark side, on the other side you have the light side. Now, the dark side has just been thrown down into a bottomless pit, and the light side rises. It's no longer balanced, no longer parallel to the ground. Right? When it comes to balance, it's all about the Grey Jedi. They actually carry on the traditions of the ancient Jedi, who were able to cultivate the dark and light side of the Force and find internal balance within themselves. It's all about discipline. If that's too spiritual or heady for you, it basically means that they could look normal like a Jedi and heal people, but they could also shoot lightning out of their hands and force choke people. It's what I like to call the two entree solution. Instead of having to choose between the ribeye and the rack of ribs, you get both. And in this modern world of comfort and excess emerging markets, it seems like everyone is trying to get on that two entree swagger. It's a modern view of the Force for a modern world. Anyway, now let's get back on track and we're going to talk about a second prophecy. This one's a little lesser known. For one, it's only in the novelization of The Force Awakens, and two, The Force Awakens isn't old enough to be nostalgic so that we can forget about all of its shortcomings so that we can really love it and then dive deep into it and make a lot of YouTube videos about it. So in Alan Dean Foster's novelization of The Force Awakens, there's an excerpt in the beginning of the book. First comes the day, then comes the night, and after the darkness shines through the light. The difference, they say, is only made right by the resolving of the gray through refined Jedi sight. Journal of the Whills 7477. So what are the Whills? What is the Journal of the Whills? Well, if you watch the Clone Wars series, you will remember some very interesting episodes where Yoda kinda, but not really, loses his mind in the pursuit of transcending the physical realm and becoming a Force ghost. On this very interesting story arc, he meets 5 individuals known as the Force Priestesses, and by some alternatively as the Shamans of the Whills. These were entities that were all-knowing and powerful in the Force. They were able to manipulate the physical world, but their consciousness seemed to exist in the mysterious, otherworldly cosmic force. It was with the help of these shamans that Yoda and Qui-Gon Jinn had figured out how to transcend the physical realm. But Dave Filoni didn't invent the Whills, he just knows a lot about Star Wars. That's why Rebels and Clone Wars is just chock full of references to earlier Star Wars ideas, including some ideas that were cut out in earlier drafts. Which is why the original idea of the Whills actually does come from George Lucas. While writing the original Star Wars movie, the Whills were supposed to be a central narrative mechanic. You see, Lucas originally wanted the story of Star Wars to be seen by an omnipresent observer. Later, that idea changed to R2-D2 being the observer of all the events in Star Wars, and now R2-D2 is retelling that story for a Keeper of the Whills. The Keeper of the Whills is an individual who writes down all this information into what's known as the Journal of the Whills. The Journal of the Whills is sort of like a historical record of all the crazy stuff that went down in the Star Wars galaxy. It's almost like the in-universe version of the expanded universe. So that's where the poem or the prophecy I just talked about comes from. It comes from the Journal of the Whills. Now, it's only fair that I mention weird groups like the Church of the Force also worship the Journal of the Whills. And the Church of the Force, well, are they most likely a cult? Yes. Are they squatting illegally? Yes. Are they most likely stockpiling illegal weapons? Yes. So yeah, they're not the most reputable and sane individuals, but at least they know that their world is flat and surrounded by an ice wall protected by the Night's Watch, aka NASA. So let's talk a little more about the prophecy and let's explain what it says. It's pretty straightforward as far as prophecies go. It speaks about the day, which is the light side of the Force, the Jedi Order, and then the night, which is the Sith. And of course, after the darkness shines through the light, they're talking about Luke Skywalker. The difference is the conflict between the light and the darkness, and it can only be made right by resolving the gray, or the creation of a gray school of the Force. Hopefully by the Jedi, because, they generally kill and maim less people. And that's kind of what we've seen in the new trilogy so far. The Jedi Order is more or less destroyed, and the Sith Order is basically nowhere to be seen. Obviously, Rian Johnson didn't read this novelization and completely derailed whatever JJ and Disney was trying to do after The Force Awakens. But hey, who knows? I'm an optimistic guy. Maybe JJ Abrams will continue his original story and things will work out. And I'm pretty sure he and Alan Dean Foster shared some notes before the novelization was completed. I wouldn't be surprised if this prophecy also comes full circle before the final credits roll on episode 9. So guys, that is the second prophecy. What do you guys think? Do you think it's legit? Do you hate the Grey Jedi? Do you hate Rian Johnson? Do you think that dolphins will climb into your house at night and violate your family? Well, let me know in the comment section below what you think, and also don't forget to subscribe and like us on Facebook so you don't miss out on all the awesome content we got coming out for you. And as usual, thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.